Oh my goodness. You guys not going to believe what I heard. This video is telling Rolex watches. You know how expensive those Rolex watches are. I can't even say it. Rolex watches. Rolex watches. You guys know how expensive they are? Guess what? Come to find out that was a hoax too. Can you believe it? And they are saying that the Rolex company, they are slashing their prices. You know why? Because they've been exposed. You know, these big companies have been taking advantage of just a regular consumer. And I want you guys to watch this video and let's see the inside tea about these Rolex watches and how they just come from China and how they're just ripping off people and how they have to slash prices in order to keep up in this economy. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe here at the Messy Sweet Spot. And I want to know what you guys have to say about this. So make sure you guys leave comments.
$4,400 for a Mid-S Tudor Black Bay monogram. You pay almost $10,000 for a Rolex America. And a Royal Oak Extra Thin, it costs like $36,000. Cheap is not a word that applies.
The watch is often blurred. However, when you come to Guangzhou, you cannot see any problem just by looking at the price. What you need to be careful about is that the low party movement inside will be sold at a high price.
My suggestion is you can try it first or buy it for a legal way. I'm Sean. See you next time.
95% of the world's watches are made here, including the one you're wearing right now. Many big brand watches are produced or sourced for parts from here. This place is Shenzhen City, the world watch capital city. And in Shenzhen, you must not miss this factory.
Asking y'all should receive. Tisa, where are the watch manufacturers? I did some digging and I found the watch manufacturers. There is a new scandal coming out of the luxury watch division. Listen, if you want to keep going to Rolex, if you want to keep going to AP and spending your money, go and do that. However, industry insiders are coming out and I have their videos. People have even been fired from it for lifting the hood away from the ugly.
Okay, so we really got to be honest for a second. Where do these luxury watches really come from? Like, are these $20,000 Rolexes on these wrists actually a handcrafted Swiss masterpiece? Or did it low-key start its life inside of a fluorescent-lit factory somewhere in China next to 5,000 others just like it? Because the way these Chinese manufacturers are exposing the luxury watch industry right now, it is crazy. The whispers have turned into full-blown testimonies. The TikTok unboxings are getting bolder, and let's just say some factories in Shenzhen are finally done being quiet. And what are they spilling? Y'all, China is brewing some hot brews of good tea because the Swiss can't gaslight their way out of this one. It's gotten so loud, so undeniable, and so embarrassing that Rolex just announced a massive price adjustment on some of their luxury pieces. And people are shook. But before we jump into these receipts, literally, the drama and the exposed loopholes, we gotta start at the real heart of this mess. Let's take a trip down memory lane to the actual watch capital of the world. And spoiler alert, it's not Switzerland.
Most Swiss watches are actually made in China, and the reason that replicas often look just as good as the original is that they are made in the same factory.
All right, so hear me out. You probably grew up thinking that the best watches must come from their Switzerland, right? Well, snowy mountains, precision engineers, little old men in magnifying glasses, building your Rolex by hand, right? Very cute, but it's giving fantasy. And let's talk facts. Welcome to Shenzhen, China, the real watch capital of the world. Like, seriously, over 95% of the world's watches actually come from China, and a huge chunk of those are born right here in Shenzhen. We're not talking about bootlegs and knockoffs either. We mean high-end dials, intricate bracelets, sapphire glass, ceramic bezels, you name it. Real watch parts, made on a scale that Switzerland could never match. And here's where things get real spicy. There are factories in Shenzhen that allegedly produce watch components for big names like Omega, Tag Heuer, Tissot, and maybe even Rolex.
Factory that offer a wider range of styles to choose from, maintain strict production standards, and can support customization, starting from just 50 pieces. What? Worry about them are just middlemen? you contact them directly.
These aren't the fake rollies you see at the swap meet. No, these are not $30 flea market specials. These are real parts, possibly made in the same factories as the legit stuff, just without the official Swiss blessing. And the wild part, these factories are now openly bragging about it. Some of them are even offering custom orders to the public, as in you can legit bypass the boutique and buy your luxury watch straight from the source.
Watches come in different sizes. A small dial makes you always slimmer, while a larger one makes you a stronger era. First of all, you need to determine your budget range. The Rolex Datejust is the best choice for cost-effective.
But that raises a big old question. If your luxury watch is mostly made in China, why does it say Swiss made? Y'all, the answer lies in one of the sneakiest loopholes in fashion history. You see that cute little Swiss-made label on the bottom of the dial? That one that screams class, quality, and old money energy? Yeah, that label doesn't mean what you think it means. Contrary to what luxury brands want you to believe, Swiss-made does not mean the entire watch was built in Switzerland. No. In fact, under Swiss law, a watch only needs 60% of its value to be generated in Switzerland to legally carry that label. So let me say that again. Only 60% of the value, not 60% of the product. And what counts as value? Well, marketing, research, branding, or literally just putting the movement inside the case once it lands in Geneva. So let's just say your factory in Shenzhen makes a Omega case and bracelet dial and even ships it fully assembled. Then some dude in Switzerland installs a movement, polishes the case, and boom, it's officially Swiss made. That's how they're doing it, y'all. You're paying $6,000 for a watch that was mostly built in China, but marketed and blessed in Switzerland. And thanks to that marketing budget, it gets a luxury glow-up and a 5-figure price tag. And don't get it twisted, this isn't new. The entire luxury industry plays this game, and it started on these Reddit threads, then leaked over into TikTok, and now former watch industry insiders are coming forward like it's a true crime docuseries. And the things they're saying, it's crazy, I say. One guy who says he used to work for a big-name Swiss brand claimed he got fired for asking too many questions. He was working on vintage watches from the 1970s and realized that even back then, a ton of components were made in Asia. He even dropped receipts, actual photos of watch bracelets, hands, and dials that came straight from China. Meanwhile, the movement, sometimes Swiss, but sometimes just a $5 quartz piece slapped in last minute.
I'm going to fire Herald.
Why?
The watch is a fake.
What's fake about it?
According to the serial number,
It doesn't correspond to that watch.
So yeah, y'all, this scandal runs deep. And now you might be thinking, okay, why hasn't the media exposed all this? Simple. The luxury watch industry has deep pockets. Magazines, they get millions in ad money from Rolex, Omega, and Cartier. You think they're gonna bite the hand that funds their pages? And the watch bloggers, even worse. They're getting flued out to Basil World, gifted watches, pampered at brand dinners. The influencers are paid to smile and keep it very cute. And nobody's gonna risk their next free Rolex to drop the receipts. So now it's up to the little guys like us, YouTubers like Misty, TikTokers, anonymous factory workers, to lift the curtain and show y'all what's really happening behind the luxury fantasy. So after years of being completely inaccessible to most people, Rolex did something they rarely do. They quietly dropped their prices. Not across the board, of course, but enough to make people say, wait, are y'all good? Because reports from watch forums and luxury dealers say some Rolex models saw up to 20% price cuts in select markets, specifically models that were getting too hot in replica scenes, like the Submariner, the GMT Master 2, and some Oyster Perpetuals.
You want to start adding Rolex to your collection? These are the 5 cheapest Rolex watches that you can buy right now. First one, we got the 36mm Datejust 16220 with the engine turn bezel, and it's worth around $6,500. The next watch is a 36mm Datejust 16014 with a blue dial and fluted bezel. This one is priced at around $6,200.
Now don't get it twisted. Rolex didn't blast this out in an ad campaign because the Rolex never goes on sale. They played it slick. Their prices were dropped subtly, mostly happening through authorized dealers and in select locations. But the people who track this stuff, they noticed immediately because these price adjustments came right after the Chinese expose that went viral, showing Rolex-style cases and bezels being boxed and shipped in mass from a Guangdong warehouse. And listen, brands don't just cut prices without a reason, especially not Rolex, who literally thrives off of artificial scarcity and luxury exclusivity. For them to adjust prices quietly during a public supply chain scandal, now that right there is what has luxury brands panicking, because this whole illusion of high fashion runs deep in mystery, on making you want the thing that seems out of reach. But now that veil has been lifted and shredded, and the people are ordering direct. I'm talking private Telegram groups, I'm talking WeChat accounts and WhatsApp, I'm talking entire watch factories selling custom luxury builds for a fraction of the retail price.
Watches come in different sizes. A small dial makes your wrist slimmer, while a larger one makes you a stronger era. First of all, you need to determine your budget range. The Rolex Datajust is the best choice for cost-effective. For more advanced options, there's sports and professional models. Let's look at the Submariner's tier.
And the gag is, they're not even calling them replicas anymore. They're using terms like factory-grade homage, same-line release, parallel build, and unbranded OEM, original equipment manufacturer. Basically, we made it, but we're not allowed to say we made it for Rolex. It's given DHgate. But one whistleblower even claimed that some Chinese suppliers received excess materials from official orders, and instead of tossing them, they finish the builds and sell them under the table. Not fakes, not dupes, the same thing, just without the final Rolex inspection stamp. Also, here's what you need to know. When we talk luxury watches, especially groups like Swatch Group, Richemont, and LVMH, their profit margins usually sit somewhere between 10% and 20%. Like, not tiny, but definitely not evil billionaire territory either. But compare that to the real villains, tech and pharma. I'm talking about Apple at a crisp 32%, Microsoft flexing at 38%, and Novo Nordisk, the Ozempic plug, at a whopping 39%. Suddenly, that $15,000 Rolex doesn't feel as outrageous, right? But before you go giving a hug to Rolex, hold up, wait a minute, because they're still eating, and I mean eating, okay? Like, Rolex stays booked and busy and private. They don't share even financials publicly because they're technically a non-profit foundation. Plot twist, but compared to the tech overlords who are printing money daily, luxury watchmakers that are just wealthy, not diabolical, not cartoon villains stroking cats in Swiss castles. But that brings us to the real question. What does it actually cost to make one of these watches? Well, let's get into that. Because a watch that retails for $6,000, industry insiders say it might cost actually between $1,200 and $1,500 to actually produce. Yes, less than 25% of the retail price. And we can't ignore that retail markup, the cut that dealers take. Some brands also bake in a prestige pricing just to keep their aura of exclusivity intact. Now, some brands are a little more honest. Like Christopher Ward, a British watch brand, actually revealed that they never charge more than 3 times production cost. Omega, around 4 times. Rolex, most experts believe it's about 5 times or higher. So yeah, you're not just paying for the watch. You're paying for the whole machine behind it. But here's the thing, not everything that looks expensive actually is. So that $60 Rolex you might get might pass on a quick Instagram story, and yes, it can eat under soft lighting if you don't zoom in too close, but let's not play games. The inside of that watch is giving Dollar Tree with dreams. No hate to the budget babes and DHgate babes, but we gotta call it what it is.
It's easy to produce. I'll tell you one thing. That one thing alone is more than enough for you all to understand why you all should not be wearing a fake. Self-confidence, guys. Once you wear a fake, your confidence is not the same as you wear original. Because once you wear a fake and you walk into a place where there's a lot of people who love watches, people who wear the original are going to figure out it's a fake. So once you wear the fake and it gives some light off it, there's going to be reflection shown on that. That alone is more than enough. And your confidence level is not the same.
Now, replicas cut corners like nobody's business. The movement inside is usually some off-brand factory-made part that ticks loud and wrong, but it's not even close to the buttery sweep of the real automatic watch. Seals, trash. Water resistance, 0. The fake Rolex will fog up just from humid air. And the metal, super cheap alloys that scratch if you blink too hard. The lume barely glows, and the weight definitely feels off. And the finishing is, well, let's just say it's not hand-polished in Switzerland, okay? But here's the big question, the one everybody is asking once they've fallen down this rabbit hole. Are luxury watches really overpriced? The answer, well, it's complicated, so let's break it down. If you walk in thinking that you're buying pure craftsmanship, innovation, and heritage, you might be setting yourself up for disappointment because not every watch is a masterpiece of engineering like they claim in these ads. Because some brands are slapping together pre-made parts, doubling the price, and banking on their name to carry them. And that's the game. But this is a big but. If you know what you're really paying for, then it's different. You're not just buying metal and glass. You're buying access. You're buying a seat at the luxury table. It's the illusion, the flex, the feeling of walking into a room and people noticing what's on your wrist. That feeling, to some people, that's priceless. So is it overpriced? Technically, sure. Emotionally, depends on how it makes you feel. Well, once you know what's the truth behind the price, you get to decide whether it's worth it. And that's the real power, not the watch, not the brand, you. But now I gotta hear from y'all. Do you think that Rolex is genuinely trying to be more accessible? Or are they just shook that people found out the real tea on their pricing? And would you still cop a Rolex now that the prices are allegedly dropping? Or do you think that the luxury illusion is finally starting to crack? Let's talk about it in the comments down below because you know the tea stays hotter when you jump in. And don't forget, you better smash that like button if you love a good expose. Subscribe for more luxury